Welcome to another in the series of Mystical Perspectives. My name is Reverend Cindy Paulos, and we've been going over all these wonderful spiritual mind power affirmations from Dr. Paul Leon Masters' book. They're wonderful, practical, mystical, and spiritual inspiration that we can apply to our life. And I'm up to page 62. And the subject is getting out of your own way in life. And we'll be going over the affirmations first from the book and then talking a little bit about this subject. I take a page from this book and I read it once a week and get some inspiration and some messages and poems, and then I share them here with you on Mystical Perspectives. The book is available at Amazon.com. And you can go to metaphysics with an S.com, and you can get not only the books there, you can find all out how you can really find the resources available, which are very inspiring at metaphysics.com, including the lectures that these affirmations were based on. So just go to metaphysics.com and /Paul-Leon-lectures. So let's get started with this affirmation. This page has a lot of important information that can really benefit our lives. Starting with who is in the way. I acknowledge that there is a part of me that steps in front of another part of me when I attempt to do things. Now, we've all had that experience, right? Part of us that has to do things, the other part that goes, I don't want to do this. Oh my God, I wish I didn't have to do this. Why isn't there someone else who can do this? It's like, and it's amazing how it also can cause us to procrastinate or sometimes not even do what we wish to do in our lives or create what we wish to want to create in our lives. So this is a powerful affirmation. It's just one sentence. It goes, I acknowledge that there is a part of me that steps in front of another part of me when I attempt to do things. I mean, you can kind of recognize it. I'll be going over some of the ways you can when we continue after the affirmations. The next affirmation is personal sense of self. I understand that the part of me that gets in the way is an illusionary sense of personal selfhood created by input from my external environmental experiences over a period of time. Okay, so this goes back to our parents, our childhood, our maybe relationships, maybe abuse, whatever caused us to think negatively and limited thinking and negative thinking, right? Repeating this affirmation. I understand that what gets in my way are one or more attributes of my outwardly conditioned personal self, which includes, but are not limited to, the obstructive negative traits of fear, awkwardness, shyness, poor self-image, lack of self-esteem, past so-called failures, self-pity, victimhood, jealousy, hate, and guilt. Anything sounds like? Do you recognize any of those parts of you? These are really interesting things that a lot of us have and deal with, and it can be really a heavy burden to carry some of these. I'm going to repeat this one because this is very important. Personal self-attributes. I understand that what gets in my way are one or more attributes of my outwardly conditioned personal self, which include, but are not limited to, the obstructive negative traits of fear, awkwardness, shyness, poor self-image, lack of self-esteem, past so-called failures, self-pity, victimhood, jealousy, hate, and guilt. Now that's a long list of things that can really get in our way. And there's so many that can be subject to these things. I deal with shyness. I deal with poor self-image, lack of self-esteem. Sometimes victimhood. But all of these things, once they're recognized and brought into the light, can really be dealt with. We can't hide them, but we can become aware of them, and we will, when we're on the spiritual path, become aware of these parts of our self that sometimes are also called as ego. Universal identity is the next affirmation here. I acknowledge that within me, the real I of me exists in universal oneness with God's presence at the center of my mind. Repeating, I acknowledge that within me, the real I of me exists in universal oneness with God's presence at the center of my mind. So this is where God's presence comes, and this is why we are so grateful, and of the grace of God can really bring that presence in and remove us from the negative images we might have of ourselves or the attributes. The next one is release. I release all darkened, negative thought energy traits of my illusionary personal self to the healing light of God's presence within me, to be sublimated and neutralized into light. This is so powerful. This is a good one to always say every day. I'll repeat it. I release all darkened negative thought energy traits of my illusionary personal self to the healing light of God's presence within me, to be sublimated and neutralized into light. Next affirmation, visualization. I visualize or imagine that my personal illusionary self, like a gray shadow, disengages from my physical body, leaving my body filled with the light of God's presence. In Buddhism, there's this phrase, the hungry ghost. The hungry ghost is the one with the negative, the gray shadow body, that is constantly wanting to be fed. And it's never enough to keep it full. The hungry ghost always wants more and more and more, because these negative traits or attributes we have are never fulfilled by that gray shadow, the ghost. It only can be cleared by letting go of that part of ourselves and becoming filled with this wonderful light of God's presence as we move into the higher self. Repeating visualization. Let's visualize together. I visualize or imagine that my personal illusionary self, like a gray shadow, disengages from my physical body, leaving my body filled with the light of God's presence. And of course, we weekly talk about meditation, because meditation is the key. It is so, so important. Through my daily practice of meditation, I more completely establish and maintain a oneness or Christ-like state of identification with God's presence within me, providing a clear pathway to my goals, free of having an illusionary self get in my way. You know, it's interesting because now there's like so many people teaching meditation, so many people meditating, but a lot of them are just doing the mindfulness meditation, which is helpful. It's kind of like a Zen, like just being aware. It's the first stages of meditation to me, but they don't get to that other part that takes you to your soul or your higher self or to the light of God. It's just a time to breathe, which is fine. You know, you really can be aware of a lot, and the stuff will come up in time as you are sitting there in meditation. But what you're missing with some of that is you're missing that presence that can come in and actually do the sweeping and the initiation and the transformation into the higher self. So repeating this in meditation. Through my daily practice of meditation, I more completely establish and maintain a oneness or Christ-like state of identification with God, and with God's presence within me, providing a clear pathway to my goals, free of having an illusionary self get in my way. So that's a powerful one as well. You're just sitting there dwelling in those attributes which are negative, you will just be reinforcing the negative attributes. The idea is to get free of them and to be filled with this light and to visualize that and to meditate and identify with God's presence within. And the last one of the affirmations is traits and attributes of my universal God selfhood. In oneness with God within me as my real Christed identity, I am one to pass through the illusions of personal selfhood via the power of God's attributes of eternal wisdom, will, creativity, healing, and love. Okay, so we've already talked about the personal self attributes earlier. These are the attributes of the universal God selfhood. Repeating that. In oneness with God within me as my real Christed identity, I am one to pass through the illusions of personal selfhood via the power of God's attributes of eternal wisdom, will, creativity, healing, and love. I might also add light and peace in there as well. But there are so many divine attributes. And it takes a lifetime to really completely allow yourself to be identified and to allow that one light, the Christ itself, to be present within you throughout the day. It's one thing to meditate on it, and you can feel it in meditation, but the practical side of mysticism is actually putting this to work in your life, which is the real challenge. A light is really a powerful tool for this, as is love. And that light of the presence really helps you to awaken from this illusionary self. I call it the objective observer. From the soul's point of view, the objective observer sees the truth, the real soul of your existence. And once you're in that soul, you can shine a light that is connected to the universal infinite light from the source upon all aspects of your life. And you can see how you can live your life to be fulfilling your soul's true purpose. You can also see, without being brought down, the patterns and the habits and the attachments and the fear and what happened to your life that may have caused those things, without being subject to victimhood. You find if they serve you or not, and if you don't feel they serve you any longer, you can let go of those old ways and really release them to make way for some much better, new, wonderful things. This morning I got this message before I came to talk here. There's so much more just waiting. There are blessings to behold. Accept the miracle of existence and let the old self-ego go. A breath of hope reaches out to you. A smile of recognition from your soul. Endless possibilities exist here and everywhere you go. Breathe in the magic of this very moment. Let that light you are be seen. Believe that your dreams are possible, and let God's love be redeemed. So we can love God, we can love Christ, we can love the teachers, we can love all the masters, but can we love ourselves? Dr. Masters talks about some of the attributes, the negative attributes, and a lot of them are dealt with things where you don't truly love yourself. You don't feel that you're worthy of that love. And that can be dealt with in meditation. In meditation, you can form new positive energy fields and patterns to release the old ones. You know, the power of this illusion and the ego is very, very strong. And it can't be overcome in time, but it takes daily work. It takes strength and courage to even face yourself and be aware of them, and to overcome the illusion and the Maya and the ego takes a lot of allowing God to work through you and not to be identified with the old self. And you really need to see yourself in a brand new light. You need to realize your potential and realize the powerful tools you have when you accept that presence of God and the truth of who you really are. And you need to be inspired enough to really live that life. It can take gradual steps. It can even take a lifetime. You know, we're here to work on things that we've been working on for a long, long time. But that's why we're here and alive. And once you have that experience and the perception is changed from the awakening, the enlightenment experience, it brings you a whole new way of seeing things. And you get into that objective observer and you see what you were doing, and you have the courage to trust your soul, and you can change your life so you can serve your soul's purpose. You can live an awakened life and overcome illusion and find that love you've been waiting for. When do you know that you're slipping into darkness or you're allowing the negative traits or attributes take over? There's signs that you can get. Your objective observer, your higher self, will give you little signs. When you get defensive, that could be your negative self, that could be your ego. When you feel a need to react, okay? When you get obsessed with what someone may have said to you, and you play it over and over and over, and you talk to your friends, and you're just so upset by what someone may have said that you felt was demeaning. You may even go and post it on Facebook and try to get everyone to support you and turn against the other person who said it. But the more you get outraged and upset by it, the more your ego is reacting, and there may really be some truth there about what was said. Another attribute that is a red flag, when too much is never enough. That's the hungry ghost, right? You're getting more and more and more, you're spending more and more and more, and it's never enough. I was raised in Beverly Hills, and I saw this so much with these movie stars with multi-million-dollar homes and cars and everything you think anyone would want, and they just were not happy. They just didn't feel like it was enough. And it's a treadmill. It's really sad, because the more you have, the more you need sometimes, and the more you have to take care of it. What's another negative red flag that you might recognize? Disliking when other people succeed. If you see other people succeed and you go, well, they didn't deserve that, I should have gotten that. Also, if you make a mistake and you refuse to apologize, oh my gosh, that's your ego saying, no, I'm not going to apologize. But being humble and realize if you're making a mistake and realizing that's an opportunity to overcome the mistake by apologizing, that's the higher self. When you redirect attention back to you, no matter what anything is going on or a conversation, but it always comes back to you. Constantly comparing yourself with others, craving respect and recognition, and setting unattainable goals, and thinking you have all the answers. Those might just be a few red flags that might be a key to recognizing that it's your negative attributes, your ego, your illusionary self. How do we let go of that? Well, there's a great old Zen saying from a teacher I knew. He said, breath sweeps mind. Let's just breathe in right now the breath of spirit. If you recognize you're doing any of these negative things, or saying negative things, or acting out in some negative way or harmful way, stop. Just stop and breathe in the breath of spirit. Breathe it in deeply and hold your breath and go to God and ask God's presence to come into you, and just breathe out that pattern you're falling into. Just breathe in deep the light of God's love and release all those fears and worries, and you just call upon God's loving presence to be with you. It will instantly shift the energy. And you let go of the tension and stress. That's another thing that you can find when your body's stressing out. You just let yourself know now that you are not your ego. You just let go of that ego and let God be in control. You can give your worries and fears over to God, because that presence, that God, is always there right within you. And it can help you be healed. It can help you be whole. It can help you be transformed. So we just let go and let go of that ego. We let God be in control. And we have to believe and have optimism and hope that this is so. You got to breathe in that peace also. Just take a breath of deep, deep peace and centeredness. And you just breathe in the light. Breathe in the love that you need. Let go of all worries and fear. And know that God is always in control when you turn your own will over to God. For you are really made from creation's light. You are a blessed child of God. You're part of that one great source of all light. You have more gifts than you really know. So it also helps to give thanks for all the blessings. That's a way to turn it around also. If you're starting to do woe is me, stop and give thanks for all the blessings. Give thanks for all that you've received. You can give thanks by giving back to others who are in need, because that will turn you around too. Just let go of the worries and fears. Let go. You know what? God is right here within you, and you can be healed. So whenever you're spinning out of control, breathe in deep and know you can smile. And remember the simple phrase, let go, let go, let God be in control. This is really a key, and it doesn't take much. It's like something you plant there, a protective energy phrase in your mind. Now I'm going to do a brief little meditation here. Just breathe in, sit erectly, and let the spine be straight, and let the energy of love and light and that God presence within come into your focus of consciousness. Go deep into that place of peace. Connect with your inner source. There's no conflict. There's no illusion. You can release all of the drama and go to that place of the objective observer. Connect with that space where you can watch the dream and you can be a part of the dreamer. You can listen to the sounds and be aware that you have the choice. Be aware from this place that you're watching. You're listening to the highest energy. You're listening to the God source within. Let it bring you that light of enlightenment. Breathe in that light. Breathe in the hope. Breathe in that belief that you are powerful beyond what you know. Come to that place in your breath where you are the dreamer and you realize what you've dreamt. Breathe in the breath of creation and become one with the Creator. For you are one with the Creator. You are the one who calls forth the experience, this very moment, this very perception. You are here and now present in the presence. You are the light of lights. You are the silence. And you are the emptiness. You are the form. You are the spirit. You are the one living this life. Let this life be the life that is the highest life, that reflects the highest love of God. Take a deep breath of this belief and absorb it into every single fiber of your body. Let it come into you like a healing, like a rebirth, a new birth of believing that you are one with God. Now smile and let that energy in. And I'm going to close today's talk with the Aramaic Lord's Prayer. Father, Mother of the Cosmos, shimmering light of all, focus your light within us. As we breathe your holy breath, enter the sanctuary of our hearts, uniting within us the sacred rays of your power and beauty. Let your heart's desire unite heaven and earth through our sacred union. Help us fulfill what lies within the circle of our lives today. Forgive our secret fears as we freely choose to forgive the secret fears of others. Let us not enter into forgetfulness, tempted by false appearances, for from your astonishing fire comes the eternal song, which sanctifies all, renewed eternally in our lives and throughout creation. We seal these words in our hearts, committed in trust and faith. Today's talk was based on Spiritual Mind Power Affirmations book by Dr. Paul Masters. It's a wonderful book, 130 pages of these seed thought affirmations to help you shed your old mental and emotional patterns and connect with the universal mind for guidance. It's available on Amazon, and you can go to metaphysics.com and see it there, along with the other book by Dr. Masters, Mystical Insights, and also the new book, Meditation Dynamics. And also when you're at metaphysics.com, see that what's available. You might want to become a metaphysical minister. You might want to actually become enrolled and be part of the growing family of metaphysicians in the world. I have all of these different talks posted on mysticalperspectives.com. That's all there for free at mysticalperspectives.com. I thank you for sharing this time with me. I wish you the best. May you always be in the light of God's love.